Hello, and welcome to a demonstration of our People Analytics prototype. In today's demonstration, we aim to showcase the attrition analytics capabilities of this prototype. Employee turnover, as we know, has been on the rise in recent years. The pandemic has greatly impacted employee satisfaction and significantly increased voluntary attrition. Companies hired the best of people, but failed to create lasting employee experiences. The key HR challenges continue to include highly unpredictable attrition levels, the corresponding increased cost for recruitment and training, and of course, low morale among employees. The important questions that remain around attrition are the ability to better predict who, why, when, and how to prevent your valuable employees leaving your organisation. In today's demonstration session, we'll talk about our ability to capture the key drivers of attrition and how you can be best guided by actionable recommendations to prevent the same at an individual employee level. So without any further ado, let's dive straight into our solution prototype to understand the kind of intelligence and predictive and prescriptive analytics that can be put to good use to understand and prevent attrition. When you log in, you will see dashboards customised to your specific role in the organisation. This is critical and highly sensitive personal data about your employees. Hence, the dashboards and analytics you will see have stringent access controls and will be relevant to your specific role and span in the organisation. Let's take a look at the kind of data sets that will typically get uploaded. So what you see within this particular data set is comprehensive data that covers the entire range of employee details, ranging from demographics, employment history, to performance and engagement data. Now let's go back to the dashboards. What you see are descriptive attrition dashboards across gender, months, age of employees, monthly salary levels, and a range of other variables. You can also add relevant filters from the drop-downs on the left to look at finer cuts of this data. You can further slice and dice the data by departments, the brands or titles, and the experience level of the employees. So it's all there depending on your role. Another interesting feature is the exploratory data analysis that provides various histograms and understanding of the data spread across attrition levels. The dashboards are useful for understanding the attrition distribution across the current job profile, the education levels, the number of dependent members of the employee, and much more. And as it goes in any kind of data analytics exercise, it's about the richness of the source data, the comprehensiveness and the maturity that defines the effectiveness of such analysis. There are further intelligent features like the attrition diagnostic analysis that provides you a view of the split and the spread across all the key data variables. A very useful feature is the ability to look at a crisp summary of key observations. So what you have are not just charts, but also intelligent summaries to infer your data. Another key feature is the cross-variable correlation matrix, how the variables are strongly or weakly related to each other, and more importantly, how they are correlated with the attrition levels. We now come to the key differentiating feature. to evaluate the performance or accuracy of the model. This tab provides you with various options of specific feature selection, where you go ahead and let the model itself select the features without you intervening or guiding the model about what to do and which features to tick. You can also ask the model to train itself about which are the key drivers, without you having to guide or supervise this entire learning. So what you see now is the model doing this automatic feature selection and training itself. Now here are the first set of results from the attrition model. It's an ensemble model that auto-validates itself and allows us to pick the best suited algorithmic intervention. The first iteration in this case gives us a good accuracy of 90% and precision of 86%. You don't need to be a statistician yourself because there is a ready inference or summary that explains the entire model and facilitates your interpretation. Now here is a representation of the ROC curve. The larger the area under the curve, the more precise and accurate is your model. Your accuracy is defined by what you are predicting, and did that incident actually happen or not? That is the essence of a confusion matrix. Here you can see that the model's predictions in terms of attrition and the accuracy of those predictions. Did that actually happen or not? The accuracy of the model is the total proportion of true positive and true negative outcomes. We can actually jump into individual employee level data to validate the results. You can further look into the characteristics at an employee level across all of the variables. What is the probability of attrition? What are the indicators causing it? And what can you do to prevent it? You even have the ability to set your own threshold levels. A high, medium, low status, where you have the ability to define the desired levels of high, medium and low attrition risk for your organisation. By default, you would get anything which is less than 0.3 as low attrition risk, 0.3 to 0.7 as moderate, and above 0.7 as high risk. But it depends on your understanding of the data, geography, business segment and industry. The threshold levels you choose would allow you to set notification alerts for your leaders. This is the set of employees with high risk of attrition that I would really want to focus on. You can now look at this entire dataset of high attrition probabilities and start assessing on a case-by-case basis. Now that's where the rubber hits the road. We're getting into the key differentiating aspect, which is the local, interpretable, model-agnostic explanation. The LIME. It allows you to finally cascade the global insights that you are getting out of your data into individual employee-level actions and recommendations. Pick, for example, any particular employee ID. While the ensemble model is providing us key drivers or variables that are important at the global level, from an actionability perspective, you can drill down to individual employee-level key drivers as well. It provides you with a clear snapshot of what is the impact of probable variables and what you need to change. Specific insights about each employee. We can get deeper and look at more characteristics of this employee along the attrition timeframe. Now that we know the factors that are causing or driving attrition for this particular employee, what if I start simulating some of the influential factors and assess their impact? For example, in this particular case, the number of months in the current profile. Should we change their job profile? Would changing the manager make a difference? What is the potential impact of these changes? What is the % reduction in attrition risk post these changes? For example, for this particular employee, the attrition risk score is reduced to 0.48 when the profile is changed. So that's definitely worth a try. The score is further reduced to 0.42 when both the profile and the manager are changed. Now that gives us ready inferences and actionable intelligence about what we can do and what can be changed to prevent or reduce the risk of attrition. And that's what makes this model really actionable at an employee level. What we have seen in this prototype so far was the model built on a particular data set. But what if the input data is not as comprehensive? As we understand, organisations evolve and go through a data maturity curve. For example, one particular organisation may have a good level of data at an employee demographic level or recruitment and hiring level, but it may not have enough data around, say, its employee engagement initiatives, employee satisfaction surveys, skip level interviews or exit interviews. We know these are key variables to gauge the employee pulse, but there is a distinct possibility that many organisations may not have enough data around these. Or even if they do have, it may not be systematically organised in well-defined databases. What we now want to validate as a second exercise is the effectiveness of our model even with different kinds of data, which may not be as extensive or complete. What is the precision of our model during such instances? Let's look at a separate set of data. This particular data is not as balanced as the previous data set, and when we say balanced, it's more about enough number of data points to train and test the model. For ease of comparison, you can see at a split screen level the modelled results of the earlier dataset and the current dataset. As we see, despite the imbalances in the new dataset, the accuracy of the model to still predict the right attrition outcomes is 88%. That's a pretty good score to start with for any model. Let's also look at the threshold levels of high, medium and low risk. Like earlier, you have the possibility to keep changing these threshold levels to define the way you would want to look at your attrition dashboards. Just like earlier, you can look at the percentage of employees that are falling into the high category. You can select individual employee IDs within such high attrition possibility bracket and start looking at the attrition timeframe and key attrition driver factors. You can work through the simulations at an individual level, trying to change factors to assess the impact on the probability of attrition. Finally, you can also look at the recommendations or summaries. Like in this case, the attrition risk score is reduced to just 0.25 once you provide the stock options. Now that's a big insight for the leaders to deliberate upon. The larger essence being only once you start making changes at an individual employee level will you be able to make tangible differences at an organisation level. We have been doing this for a diverse range of clients of ours, and we have seen the tactical and strategic impact of these models. The sustainable and ever-evolving benefit of these localised and hyper-personalised models on the larger metrics within an organisation. So that's today's People Analytics prototype demo, our very first module around attrition analytics. We hope to come up with more modules around engagement and recruitment practices to cover the entire gamut of people analytics. To summarise, let's stay focused on the larger calls of data-driven interventions to enhance your biggest asset, the human capital in your organisation. Thank you.